Take a quiet breath for a moment. Not because something bad is about to happen, but because your soul needs space to hear what it has been trying to tell you for a long time. Life moves fast, thoughts overlap, days pass one after another, and somewhere in between all of that, your inner voice keeps getting softer. This moment is not here to scare you. It is here to slow you down gently. Sometimes guidance does not arrive loudly. It doesn't break doors or force attention. It arrives quietly, through reflection, through a pause you didn't plan to take, through a feeling that says, "There is something I need to understand about myself." If you are here right now, it is not because you were warned. It is because you were ready, even if you didn't realize it yet. You have been carrying more than you show. Responsibilities, emotions, unspoken thoughts, and questions you don't ask anyone because you feel you must stay strong. And yet, strength is not about holding everything inside forever. True strength is knowing when to listen, when to release, and when to trust that you are not walking alone. There are moments when guidance feels emotional, not because something is wrong, but because something important is trying to surface. Tears are not weakness. Tears are clarity finding its way out. When the heart softens, understanding enters. That is where real change begins, not through fear, but through awareness. You may have felt restless lately. Not anxious, not scared, just unsettled. As if something in your life is shifting quietly beneath the surface. That feeling is not a problem. It is a signal. A signal that you are growing, shedding old layers, and becoming more aligned with who you are meant to be next. This is not about a final chance. Life always gives room to learn. This is about an important moment, not a dangerous one. A moment to ask yourself honest questions. A moment to let go of unnecessary guilt. A moment to stop replaying old mistakes and start understanding the lessons they brought with them. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not broken. You are in transition. And transitions often feel emotional because they sit between what was and what is becoming. If you felt guided here, allow yourself to stay present. No pressure. No urgency. Just attention. Sometimes attention alone is enough to shift an entire direction. Whatever you've been worried about, whatever you've been overthinking, whatever you've been holding in silence, it does not define your future. Awareness does. Calm does. Choice does. And right now, you are choosing to listen instead of rushing past. Let this moment remind you that guidance is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to support you. Not to control your path, but to help you walk it with clarity, trust, and peace. Stay with this feeling. Not because you might regret leaving, but because understanding grows when you allow yourself to remain. If you are still here, it means something inside you chose to stay. Not curiosity, not pressure, but a quiet inner pull that said, "Let me listen a little more." That inner pull matters more than you realize. It is the part of you that knows when to pause, when to reflect, and when to stop running from your own thoughts. Life has taught you how to keep moving even when you are tired. You learned how to smile when questions remained unanswered. You learned how to stay strong for others, even when your own heart needed reassurance. Over time, this strength became a habit, and that habit became silence. But silence does not mean peace. Silence only hides what still wants to be understood. There are moments when guidance does not come as instructions. It comes as emotion. A heaviness in the chest. A sudden stillness. A feeling that says, something is shifting, and I need to be present for it. These moments are not accidents. They are invitations to reconnect with yourself at a deeper level, beyond noise, beyond opinions, beyond fear. You may have noticed how certain thoughts return again and again, especially when everything around you becomes quiet. Thoughts about direction. About purpose. About whether you are truly living in alignment with who you are meant to become. These thoughts are not meant to disturb you. They are meant to wake you up gently, before life forces change through chaos. Sometimes protection looks like awareness. Sometimes guidance looks like slowing down before a wrong turn is taken. And sometimes, support comes simply by helping you see clearly what you have been avoiding, not because it is dangerous, but because it requires honesty with yourself. You are not being asked to make a sudden decision. You are not being pushed toward fear or urgency. You are being reminded that clarity grows when you stop ignoring your inner signals. The mind is loud, but the soul speaks softly. That is why moments like this require stillness, not panic. Think about how much you have already survived. Situations that once felt impossible are now memories. Pain that once felt permanent eventually softened. Not because time erased it, but because you grew stronger, wiser, and more aware. That growth did not happen by accident. It happened because something within you kept choosing understanding over despair. Right now, you are standing at another quiet threshold. Not a dramatic one. A subtle one. A moment where you can either continue on autopilot, or pause long enough to realign. Realignment does not change everything overnight. It changes how you respond, how you choose, and how you protect your inner peace. You may feel emotional as you listen, and that is okay. Emotion is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign that something meaningful is resonating. When emotion appears without fear, it usually points toward truth. And truth does not rush. Truth waits patiently for you to notice it. This is not about regret. Regret lives in the past. This is about responsibility toward your future. Responsibility to yourself, your peace, your direction, and your well-being. Awareness today prevents confusion tomorrow. Calm reflection today prevents unnecessary pain later. Stay with this moment. Not because you must, but because you deserve clarity. Let your breathing slow. Let your thoughts settle. Let your heart feel safe enough to listen without defending itself. You don't need all the answers right now. You only need presence. What is meant for you does not disappear when you move with awareness. It becomes clearer. What is not meant for you slowly loses its hold when you stop feeding it attention. This is how quiet transformation begins. You are not alone in this process. Even when guidance feels emotional, it is never meant to overwhelm. It is meant to support, to remind, and to steady you. Trust grows when you stop fighting yourself and start listening inward. Remain here, gently. Not because something bad will happen if you leave, but because something meaningful happens when you stay. There is a reason this message feels heavier than the others you've heard before. Not heavy in a frightening way, but heavy in a meaningful way, like a truth that has been sitting quietly inside you, waiting for the right moment to surface. Sometimes the soul does not speak when life is loud. It waits until the noise fades and you finally slow down enough to notice what has been asking for your attention all along. You may have felt moments recently where everything around you continued as usual, yet something inside felt different. A subtle shift. A quiet awareness. A sense that you are standing at the edge of a new understanding, even if you can't fully name it yet. These moments are not coincidences. They happen when growth is near, when clarity is forming beneath confusion, and when inner strength is preparing to rise. You are not weak for feeling emotional during moments like this. In fact, only people with depth feel this way. Those who lack awareness never pause long enough to question, to reflect, or to listen inward. You, however, have always sensed that life is more than survival, more than routine, more than simply getting through the day. That awareness has followed you quietly, even when you tried to ignore it. There have been times when you felt misunderstood, not because others were cruel, but because they could not see the weight you carried silently. You learned early how to keep things to yourself, how to appear fine even when your thoughts were restless. Over time, that habit became second nature. But habits formed for survival eventually need to be softened for growth. This moment is not asking you to change everything at once. It is asking you to become honest with yourself. Honest about what no longer feels aligned. Honest about what drains you. Honest about what you keep postponing because it requires courage, patience, or trust. True guidance does not force action, it brings awareness so that action becomes natural. You may have wondered why certain doors closed despite your effort, or why some paths felt blocked no matter how hard you tried. Sometimes protection looks like delay. Sometimes redirection looks like disappointment. Only later do we understand that what didn't work out was never meant to shape our future. Understanding arrives when resistance softens. Notice how your breathing changes when you slow down and truly listen. Notice how the body responds when the mind stops arguing. Peace does not arrive suddenly, it unfolds when you allow it space. That space is being offered to you now, not to overwhelm you, but to steady you. There is wisdom in patience, and there is strength in restraint. You are learning that not every thought needs to be chased, not every emotion needs immediate reaction. Some things simply need acknowledgement. When you acknowledge without judgment, clarity follows naturally. This phase of your life is about internal alignment more than external achievement. It is about choosing awareness over impulse, understanding over assumption, and calm over chaos. These choices may seem small, but they quietly reshape the direction of your life. You are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where reflection becomes necessary before progress continues. Many people rush forward without clarity and later wonder why peace feels distant. You are being given the opportunity to move forward with awareness instead. Let yourself stay present with this message a little longer. Not because you fear missing something, but because presence itself is the gift. When you stop rushing, you begin hearing what truly matters. This is not the end of something. It is the preparation for what comes next. What comes next does not require fear, urgency, or pressure. It requires trust, steadiness, and the willingness to remain conscious of your inner signals. Remain calm. Remain open. Remain aware. What unfolds next will make more sense when you do. At this point, nothing needs to be forced anymore. What you are feeling right now is not urgency, not pressure, not fear. It is recognition. Recognition of something that has quietly walked beside you for a long time, waiting for you to slow down enough to notice it. Life does not always speak through dramatic moments. Sometimes it speaks through stillness, through repetition, through thoughts that return again and again asking to be understood rather than silenced. You have reached a phase where awareness matters more than speed. In earlier seasons, moving fast felt necessary just to survive. Decisions were made quickly, emotions were pushed aside, and reflection was postponed. That phase served its purpose. It taught you resilience. But now, resilience alone is no longer enough. Now comes refinement. Now comes understanding. Now comes alignment. Notice how your inner world has been changing. Things that once excited you no longer hold the same weight. Things you once tolerated now feel heavier. And moments of silence, which may have once felt uncomfortable, now feel strangely familiar. This is not confusion. This is evolution. Growth does not always announce itself loudly. Often, it begins with subtle dissatisfaction, gentle questioning, and a desire for something more meaningful. You are learning that peace is not found in controlling outcomes, but in understanding yourself. You are learning that clarity does not come from answers alone, but from the ability to sit with uncertainty without panic. This is not something everyone can do. Many distract themselves endlessly to avoid these moments. You chose differently, even if you didn't realize it at the time. There have been nights when your mind replayed conversations, decisions, and what-ifs. Not because you were weak, but because your inner awareness was trying to reorganize itself. The mind revisits what the soul is ready to release. Once something is fully understood, it loses its power to disturb you. Understanding is the doorway to freedom. This message is not here to tell you what to do next. It is here to help you recognize that you already know more than you think. Your intuition has been speaking quietly, nudging you toward patience, honesty, and inner discipline. Every time you ignored it, discomfort followed. Every time you listened, even briefly, things felt lighter. You are not required to have everything figured out right now. What is required is presence. Presence with your thoughts. Presence with your choices. Presence with the moments you usually rush through. When presence becomes a habit, clarity follows naturally, without force. This stage of your life is about becoming selective. Selective with your energy. Selective with your reactions. Selective with the people and situations you allow close to you. Not everyone needs access to your inner world. Protecting your peace is not selfish, it is responsible. You may soon notice that you are less interested in proving yourself and more interested in understanding yourself. Less interested in noise and more interested in meaning. Less reactive and more observant. These are signs of maturity, not withdrawal. You are not pulling away from life, you are stepping into it with awareness. Everything that truly belongs to you will align without pressure. What requires constant anxiety, chasing, or self-betrayal is not meant to stay. Trust that removal is also a form of guidance. What leaves creates space. What arrives will fit without struggle. As you move forward, remember this: calm is strength. Silence is wisdom. Awareness is protection. You do not need to rush toward your future. Walk toward it with intention. When intention leads, fear loses its grip. Let this moment settle within you. Not as something dramatic, but as something grounding. Something steady. Something real. You are not alone in this awareness. You never were. But now, you are finally listening. Stay present. Stay grounded. Stay aware. What comes next will unfold naturally, without force. If messages like this bring you a sense of peace, clarity, or quiet strength, you may want to stay connected. New messages arrive only when they're meant to. Subscribing doesn't mean commitment, It simply means you're open to listening when the moment comes. Take your time. Stay if it feels right.